Hello everyone, Mark here with Mark's Max Muscle. And the question of the day is, can Patrick Moore go on to win the Olympia title? Of course, that is the question of the day here at Mark's Max Muscle's mansion, or trailer. Anyway, Patrick Moore, can he win the title? Well, Brendan Curry, I'm sure not too many people were asking that question after his Olympia debut, which is the 2011 version of Brendan Curry. And we're going to do a little comparison here, an interesting comparison. And I have to say, there are points of Patrick Moore, such as his size, perhaps the conditioning, and those calves, which are superior in this one. But the aesthetics, for some reason, I just do not like Patrick Moore's front double bicep. And on the contrary, Brendan Curry looks like a dream wrapped in a blanket. Very aesthetically pleasing. But back to Patrick Moore. It's almost like his limbs, his legs are too long and gangly. Kind of looks like a spider.
It's one pose. And that looks like a big spider. And you know what I'm going to do when I get to Africa? I'm going to take Katz's shirt. I'm going to hide it.
Anyway, let's get on with this show. The rear double bi. Now, upper body wise, I would give it to Curry. That back development, nice thick lower lat insertions. Of course, when I look at the conditioning, when I take a closer look, Patrick Moore could easily take a victory in this one, even though there is a lack of size in the lat development alone. When I look at the lower half, oh my goodness, those poor little whiffles of calves every time it gets Curry. And it really bothers me, small little wee calves like this. Look at the size of the biceps, and then boom, down to the calves. They should be roughly the same size. And Patrick Moore doesn't have huge calves, but at least his proportions are a whole lot better. That coupled with the conditioning, I am giving him a point in this one. The front lat spread was a very tricky one for me to judge. The upper body appears to be a little bit flat, small, in the part of Patrick Moore, and I think that is due to those legs. They are almost too large, definitely too long. They take the proportions off, which is unsetting because 9 times out of the 10, it's the legs that are too small. And Brendan Curry, legs are a little bit small here, but the proportions are almost right on until you look at the calves. But this front shot doesn't hurt him as bad, I don't think, and that was my gripe with Hattie Shupin. His thighs were so massive. They even hurt his calves, even worse in the proportion department. But enough about Hattie Shupin. I'm giving Brendan Curry a slight edge in this one. I believe his upper body is superior. Look at those lats. But both men have a case for a victory here in the front lat spread. The rear lat spread, however, will be going to Patrick Moore. I like the detail in that back development. It makes up for the lack of size, which Brendan Curry has in spades. Look at that lower lat insertion, very thick meat. But like I said, the detail is wishy-washy. The glutes definitely are going to Patrick Moore, but let's look at Brendan Curry's glutes here for a second. Brendan Curry, you had some somewhat conditioned glutes here in 2011. Why in 2019 were your glutes soft? But anyway, 2019 Brendan Curry is not on trial here. Patrick Moore gets a point here. The side chest pose, definitely going to Patrick Moore. He has the size, and look at the lag development, the striations, the cuts in those quads, hanging hamstrings, and definitely the calf development is leading the way here. The pec development, I believe Brendan Curry is right there with Patrick Moore, but nothing doing. Patrick's proportions are just too perfect. There's the triple P. Patrick's proportions are perfect. Hard to say. All right, next pose. The side tricep. Patrick Moore, he does look very big, I guess one could say, when you look at the lag development. But he's almost tilting to the front here. And what happens when Patrick Moore faces front? His legs become overwhelming and expose that short little wee torso. He does look awkward here. His tricep is not being displayed very well. And on the contrary, Brendan Curry just looks unreal. Look at that tricep. This is one of the better poses for him back then. Better than now, I believe. Now his conditioning may not be quite as good as Patrick Moore, but his aesthetics are so much better, and the conditioning is close. Not to mention the domination in the tricep region from Curry. fetches him a point in this one. I have gone back and forth with this one, the ab and thigh pose. Now, yes, Patrick has the advantage in the thigh and in the ab, so I should give it to him, right? Well, not necessarily. Same case as Hattie Shupin. He had the better set of abs, and he had those feathered quads. But the overall flow in this one, I place a great deal of emphasis on aesthetics for the ab and thigh. And I have to say, Brendan Curry gets a slight edge here due to that, the aesthetics. Now, for a most muscular shot like this, I tend to focus more on the musculature of the athlete. And I have to say, upper body wise, Brendan Curry has this one with ease. It appears Patrick Moore does not transition well into a pose like this. But when I look at the leg development, it is Destruction City. Look at the size of those big striated feathered quads of one Patrick Moore. Wow. Fantastic. Which leads me to believe that we need to have, boom, another most muscular comparison. And those legs, once again, are massive. Almost too massive. If he had the longer torso and a bigger upper body, he would have this one easily. But Brendan Curry battles back here with some big, thick upper body muscle. If we ignore the calves here for a second, Brendan Curry takes this one with ease, and I do give him a point in the most muscular. And Mr. Curry does win the overall in this little competition of mine. But the question that I would like answered is, does Patrick Moore have the potential to go on to be a Mr. Olympia champion someday? And judging by this and the speed that these guys are at, then yes, of course he does. Look at Brandon Curry's Mr. Olympia debut. He probably was not even looked at. They probably didn't even pay attention to him. But anyway, Patrick Moore got a lot of press here, a lot of good press, a lot of fans jumping on his bandwagon. Perhaps the competition is not as stiff as it was back in 2011 for Brandon Curry. But having said that, we have to take into consideration the ages of these guys. Even now, they're only 2 years off in age. So Brandon Curry was a lot younger in his Mr. Olympia debut than one Patrick Moore. But only the future knows what will happen for Moore. Hope you enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you did, hit the subscribe button, and don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up either. It helps me get these videos out into YouTube land. Up the ante in my sub level as well. Have a great day.